I'm Mike White from the Rejection Booth podcast out in Detroit, and it is my great honor to be the moderator here at the Q&A with Christopher Lloyd. Whole introduction about, in 1885, Marty McFly went back to find you on September 2nd, and here it is all these years later, but it didn't work out that way, so, yeah.
It's amazing how the Back to the Future trilogy just keeps rolling. It's amazing. I don't think maybe the executives have calculated this could happen, but none of us had any idea the film would be as popular still as it is. And thank you. I mean, all you people coming to see it over and over and over. Thank you. It's great.
Well, you were kind of hitting right out of the gate. Your very first film appearance, and please correct me if I'm wrong, was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, was just took over the Oscars.
Yeah, that's right. I grew up living near New York City and was living there for a long time. And I went there because I wanted to be an actor. And I wanted to do film, but I'm near the city. There's lots of theater. I love the theater. And that the theater would eventually get me up there somewhere where I would get into the movies. It didn't really work out that way. I just did not seem to click when I walked into an office for a meeting. It was very nice, but I didn't feel these people particularly wanted to see me again. So, and then after some time, they came to cast One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and it worked out. And I was, Jack Nicholson was a hero to me back then because of all the films he made, the kind of actor and person he is. And so that was a huge excitement. And then working on that script with the other cast members also, it was a sort of turning point in my life.
And then you went out to work with Nicholson a few more times.
Yeah, we did a film called Going South. It's a kind of wacky comedy, romantic comedy with a certain tilt to it. And it was a real lark. We shot it in kind of the heart of Mexico, the city of Durango, in the state of Durango in Mexico. It was kind of a wild time. Funny film, and Mary Steenburgen, it was her first film role. Danny DeVito was in it. And, oh, for heaven's sakes, John Belushi, I mean, it was, so you can imagine we had a few laughs.
And I was curious, I'll open it up for questions in a few minutes, but I did want to ask you some more questions as far as, you worked with Michael Keaton quite a few times. What was that experience like? Mr. Mom and why am I forgetting the other one?
Yeah. I'm sorry?
I'm forgetting the name of the other one.
Dream Team, yeah.
Thank you.
And what was the first one you mentioned?
Mr. Mom?
Yeah. Did I actually appear in
Yeah.
Mr. Mom? There's a couple of films I've done where my name may have been in the credits, but I wasn't on screen. Yeah, Dream Team. That was wonderful. I love it. And for the dead, I can never remember the name of it. I don't know why, because it's one of I really love that film. Michael Keaton and all the others. It was a fun film to make, and we shot most of it here in Toronto. Yes, we did. Yes.
A lot of your roles, you talked about how your name will appear in credits and you might not appear, but you've been almost unrecognizable in a few of your roles, like I want to say John Big Boutte. And how is it kind of acting through the makeup? Because between that and Star Trek 3, I mean, you must have spent hours in the makeup chair, even with Uncle Fester.
Yeah. Well, whatever the makeup and the costuming, I mean, the thing I gotta do is make these people alive, make them real and believable, no matter how ridiculous and insane the circumstances. You've got to, I have to find, where does this character live? What are the things he loves and hates, etc., so that I can humanize Judge Doom or Captain. What is it?
Captain Krug?
Yeah, Captain Cruz. That's so. The makeup and the costume make it easier to do that. I'm amazed how much you like. Any one of you could be, go home and find something to wear that is totally not something you would normally wear, and it will change your behavior. You will feel, hey, I look like that guy, whatever. It changes the way you feel and look. So as an actor, you try to choose things that will help you feel like you imagine the character should be. So it all works together. It's not different components. It's all part of the same purpose or goal.
Now, one of the famous stories about Back to the Future is the whole idea that it had to be recast with Michael J. Fox, or that was the original intention. Did that affect you much as an actor? Had you shot a lot of stuff with Stoltz before they brought in Michael J. Fox?
No, I had no idea that was going to happen. I feel terrible. I'm trying to remember the actor's name.
Eric Stoltz?
Eric Stoltz, who is a very good actor.
Yeah.
And so he acted well. And, we were 6 weeks into the shoot. And then one night, we were having all-night shoots. Around 1 a.m., we broke for dinner, and an announcement was made for everybody to go over to somebody's trailer, and that, they wanted to talk to us. So we went over there, and Steven Spielberg was there, and Bob Zemeckis, and some other people in the suits, and they announced that Eric Stoltz was being let go, and Michael J. Fox was coming in. And I was stunned. I hadn't a clue. And all I could think of, because I was so, it was Back to the Future 1, and I was so concerned every day that I would be able to nail it, you know, because I was still looking around for Doc Brown a little bit. I wasn't like absolutely secure with it yet. So I had to put a lot into it every take for 6 weeks, and I suddenly thought, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to do it over again. you know, so I was, me. I was concerned about that. But Michael came on with an energy and a certain kind of charisma, a sense of comedy, great energy, and it's just the chemistry just was there from the get-go, and it never quit. For all 3 years, or whatever we spent, 4 years doing all 3 films, we come back, camera roll, and we still have that energy was just there. So that you know, what they saw in what made the change, I think, was because they needed somebody with a more comic flair to bring to it. So that's what happened.
Well, you said energy, and Doc Brown has a real kind of manic energy most of the time. How did you tap that? What was your secret to staying up all the time?
That was Doc. No, I just felt Doc Brown. He never relaxes. When he's sleepy, he's sleepwalking, doing things in his sleep. I mean, I feel he just, you know, he just gets so into every possibility and how to make it happen and put it together, and shares excitement with Marty. You know, Marty understands. He knows what Doc's about. He may not approve, but it's too curious a phenomenon not to hang around. So, yeah, I just felt that's the energy. That's what drives Doc Brown. And then, of course, he's his own enemy because he creates these crises where the space-time continuum is and we're all done. So he's got that all over his head all the time. And the second the time machine or his judgment or Michael does something and we're doomed.
I want to open it up for some questions. We've got a microphone, I believe, here in the center. Yeah, thank you. So if folks have a question, please raise your hand. We'll try to run that over to you.
Two.
Okay, geez, I can barely see with these lights, so. All right, you.
Morning, Mark from Montreal. I have a question, 2 parts. As when you said in Taxi, what does the yellow light say? Second part. Every movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, one of your great ones. In the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. In the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Yeah.
Would you think you'll ever take another fishing trip with the same guys?
Would you take another fishing trip with the same guys?
Fishing trip? Totally. We all had a wonderful was a 3-day shoot going out in the water. And it was at the end of shooting about 12 weeks in the asylum facility. We were there morning, noon, and night for 12 weeks making the film. So going out on that boat was, that felt really good.
And lastly, what about that cigarette when you gave the guy the cigarette, you put it in his shoe in the movie? Remember the movie when you're in the Satan Asylum? And the other person wanted his cigarette, and you put his cigarette in his shoe?
Put a cigarette in his shoe?
In Cuckoo's Nest?
Yeah, his shoe.
Yeah.
And you were happy to talk.
What about it?
That was a pretty good part.
What?
I couldn't hear.
In the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, right?
Yeah. That,
When you were all talking, the other person wanted his cigarette, you put his cigarette in his shoe,
Yeah.
it started burning.
the Milos Forman, who directed the film, told a story. He was in Czechoslovakia, which was then a communist satellite to the Soviet Union. And he had made some films there, and then he escaped and came to the US. And he did Amadeus and 2 or 3 others, and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And he said that he was at a railroad station in Czechoslovakia at night, and there was barely anybody on the platform waiting for the train. And there was a guy smoking a cigarette on the platform. And when he was done with it, he just sort of like flicked it over the side, landed in the hem of a man's trousers. And that, and of course, Milos, nobody went to tell the guy that, but nobody went. But eventually it started burning him, and he went berserk. He went totally berserk. And that's where that moment came from. Milos wrote it into the scene where I get the cigarette in my cup and I go berserk.
Yeah, the gentleman brought up Taxi, and I was curious, what was it like working with Andy Kaufman?
It was really good. A lot of people will ask me, was Andy crazy? And he was not crazy. He had a real image. He knew the kind of comedy, the kind of characters he wanted to create. It was all very well thought out. And he did things, like mud wrestling with women and wrestling with professional wrestlers and get his neck, maybe or maybe not, injured. He just knew what he was doing. And he made it happen. He created it. He was very creative and he was a real artist. A moment that comes to my mind every time thinking of Andy, there were a couple, he could be infuriating. You'd want to shake him sometimes because he just was in his own groove, which is okay. But sometimes it can be a little hard to deal with. And he ticked off Tony Danza, right? And Tony went with a fire extinguisher, one of those foam deals, and he knocked on Andy's dressing room door and just all over the place. But a thing I remember is that he was into meditation and all of that. meditation in all its forms. And one day we were in rehearsal before performance, so it was like a full dress rehearsal with all the crew, and all the camera crew, the producers, everybody there. And somehow a kind of a discussion about levitation came up. And with Andy and others in the cast or whatever, Andy said, just somehow casually said that he could levitate. You know, we kind of laugh or whatever. He said, oh. So he sat down on the stage floor, and you know, that cross legs and like that, and he just sat there, and sat there, and sat there, and sat there. And we're standing around. I mean, can you imagine? Somebody said, seriously, don't mind, I'm gonna sit down here, or I gotta levitate. Or I'm gonna levitate. The gall, the daring to do something like that. And it wasn't until the production manager said, break's over, we gotta go back to work here. And he said, it was like, well, okay, I mean, I could have done it, but okay. And he gets up, and we go on, but I'll never forget that. It was everybody standing around watching, and he's sitting on the floor, and you're beginning to think it might happen. So, oh my God.
Next question.
Hi, I'm Tyler, and we know you all as Doc Brown, Judge Doom, and everything. But this little birdie told me another name. He calls you Hacker. What do you have to say about that?
The Hacker. You should know better.
Hello, Doc Brown. Question for Jill. This is a two-part question. First part, when is your favorite scene you feel good with the whole Back to the Future trilogy?
Sorry, one more time.
What is your favorite scene you feel throughout the whole trilogy of Back to the Future?
Favorite scene. Best scene.
Favorite scene in Back to the Future. In the trilogy, sorry.
In the what?
In the trilogy.
In the trilogy. Gosh, it's so many. I kind of feel my favorite of the trilogy is the third, number 3, and horseback riding and shooting all that steam engine. This steam, I don't know how many of you have gotten up close to a really steam engine and just looked it over. It's amazing. It's amazing. There's all these gears, wheels and wheels and wheels, and steam coming out here, the steam coming out there, and the noise. It's just such an incredible machine. And that was fun.
Also, what is your favorite line from the movie?
Favorite.
And Doc fell in love. How many films have you seen where my character falls in love? Yes.
Also, what is your favorite line in the whole series?
What's your favorite line in the whole series? Great Scott.
Oh, I guess. Great Scott.
I like this Jesus.
Hello, Mr. Lloyd. May I call you Chris?
Are you for real?
whatever you want me to be. Chris,
Yes.
if you had a DeLorean that could go back in time, who would you go back in time to meet, and what would you ask me?
I don't know. Okay. Meet you on the hill. I don't know. Who I would go back to meet? Well, it's like a bit of a cliche. And probably not, but you know, I like to hang out with Abraham Lincoln. And I'm not saying that because I'm partisan, this and that. I just think he was just an amazing mind and look, and his whole that Lincoln-esque thing, and the way he worked through the crises that he had to work through. All of the Civil War, and before that, I just had an incredible humor. When people would come up to him with problems, he told them stories that captured, in a very humorous vein, exactly what they were concerned about. I don't know, he just, to me, was sort of amazing. I hope you're not feeling badly about how this turned out.
Oh no. I feel very blessed.
Hello, I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure to have the opportunity to speak with such a legend like yourself. And everyone here really loves you for your live action film, but I love you for your voice acting and the voices you do. I mean, recently you've done Over the Garden Wall as the Woodsman. Is it Woodsman? Yeah. You were Old King Graham in King's Quest. And of course, everyone here really is coming to see you because they loved you in Food Fight. And that's my question. What the hell happened in 2012? Because you did a lot of weird voice work.
Well, when I think back, I don't know. It just sort of. I started doing it some time ago, some years ago, and I wasn't crazy about it. I wasn't crazy about the idea. But then opportunities came up, and I began to get comfortable with it, and then began to really enjoy it, which I do now with King's Quest and whatever. Yes, I haven't seen that yet.
It's one of your best performances. I honestly think it's worth a rewatch.
But he hasn't watched it yet.
One more thing.
Okay, I will watch it.
And also, would you care for a cookie?
Hello.
It's okay.
Hi.
Why did you want to become an actor instead of the millions of other jobs out there?
I began in a strange way to become aware that if I could abuse someone, it would save me from getting my ass kicked. Pardon my language, but I just felt that I developed a certain knack to cover myself in situations where I felt awkward or threatened or ill at ease. So, putting on an act in a way. And it just sort of evolved into getting up on stage and doing it from that. As near as I can. I like it. I like it.
When you first started out, you worked, what, 20 years in the theater almost before you went into movies?
I came to, well, I got into theater whenever I could during my later teens. So I stopped apprenticing and doing bits here and there. Then I went to New York after high school in 1960. I went to a drama school, the neighborhood playhouse of the School of the Theater in New York, and then started making the rounds. And finally came out to LA after Cuckoo's Nest in 1976. And I live in California still.
How often do you go back to the theater?
About once every 2 years. Yeah, something comes up. Working on something now that may happen in a year or so. So yeah, I like it. And it's great because I spent a lot of time in New York trying to get a paying job as an actor from 1961 or 2 until I was 33 before I got a paid job in the theater in New York. I did a lot of workshops, acting classes, but I worked out of town. I did summer stock and regional theater, guest shots here. But so, yeah, it was a while. And what was the point?
I was just asking you how it was working in the theater and then that you still go back.
Oh yeah, so now when I go back to do a play, it really, really, really feels good. You know, I'm coming like home, and I'm working there. You know, so.
I know there's a lot of people waiting, and I apologize, but we've only got time for about 2 more questions. Unless it's a multi-part question, then we only have time for like 1 more question.
Hi, Mr. Lloyd. Sorry. Back in the mid-90s, you did motion capture for my favorite adventure game of all time, which was Toonstruck.
Yeah.
Toonstruck. I was just wondering how acting in motion capture is compared to acting on film or in theater, and how you kind of adjusted for that role.
I remember, I know I was in Toonstruck, I don't quite remember what it was. Exactly. But, you mean, how's it feel doing the voice for a character?
How does it feel doing, how is it different doing motion capture and voice acting instead of being able to fully act on stage or in a film where you have a full range of motion and access to everything?
I don't know. It's kind of vague because I did hardly any of that. And it was the last time I did it was before they made a whole leap in technology. I don't remember how it was done when I did it, but it was so long ago. I don't remember even what it was for.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
I hope you're satisfied.
Hi, I'm Cindy from New York. Sorry? Okay. Hello. I'm here for the accounting convention. Yeah, that's why I'm wearing pink. I'm clever. Anyway, what advice would you give to an actor on their first film shoot?
What was it like when I first did it? Just come in really focused on what you want to do. Really focused on it. And actually said, just do what you want to do. I know there's pressure, there's all of that, but just keep right on it and really work off the other actor as best you can. And they may do a few takes one way, and then they'll set up to do some more takes of the same scene, like a close-up or from a different angle. And there's a tendency when you've gotten through your first take, to go to the craft services and go and start talking, have a smoke. And then you're called back for the next setup, and my God, what happened to my character? You got to keep in it until the whole sequence is over to keep your focus.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Let's do one more question.
I wanted to know, do you have a favorite moment or cherished memory of Michael J. Fox from the Future trilogy, making it with him?
Do I have a favorite? It's endless. I do remember one that kind of sticks to me. We had somewhere in Back to the Future 3, we had to walk on the top of a train, freight car, while it was moving. And when you're up on the top of one of those, it sways more. I mean, down here, it's this. Up there, it's kind of. And we were facing each other. The train's bumping along about 20 miles an hour or so, maybe 30. And we were facing each other because we were about to have to do something that was in the scene. And it took a little more lurch than it did the time was. And we just looked at each other in the eye like, okay, here we go. Everything turned out okay.
I've given the signal that we have to wrap up here, but I do want to ask you one more thing. Can you tell the folks about your role in I Am Not a Serial Killer? Because I watched that this morning. Fantastic film, fantastic.
Well, thank you. Yes, this is a film that's coming out. It is called I Am Not a Serial Killer. And I tell you, I like it. I really, and the response has been good, but it's just been in festivals. Now it's coming out in theaters and somewhere on TV, on those, yeah, somewhere like that. And it's hard to tell you anything about it because it's very important that you don't know what's going to happen. And to reveal any clue becomes another clue and another clue. So I recommend it. Let's just cut to the chase.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lloyd. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. And thank you, everybody, for coming out for this. This has been